Right. So we are doing the building blocks, right? And these are very important building blocks. Right. Now we want to understand how these individuals and households are related, or how they are linked, how they all come together, right? So if you remember, we said households, they own the factors of production, right? Households, they own the factors of production. And in return for their factors of production, they get those payments, right? So households, they own your land, your labor, your capital, and your entrepreneurship, right? They are entrepreneurs, they own capital, they own labor, and they own land. And in return for that, they get your rent, your salaries or wages, your interest, and your profits. But then how do these come together? How do these interact? They come together through what we know as the market mechanism, the market mechanism, the market where people, where buyers and sellers meet. That is the market. What is a market? A market is a place where buyers and sellers meet. It can be virtual, it can be physical, right? A place where trade happens, right? Exchange of goods and services. And so the market mechanisms simply bring us to what we know as the circular flow of income and spending. So the simplified circular flow of income and spending. What is the circular flow of income and spending? Right. We're saying in this market, there is certain groups of participants, right? Certain groups of participants, right? Where we have number one, the factor market, right? We will classify it as a factor market, right? So a factor market, it is taken from your factors of production, your factors of production. So factor market, this is where you simply trading or buying and selling your factors of production. So your factors of production will move in one direction, and in the opposite direction, you will have those rewards or income, which comes in the form of rent, interest, wages, and salaries, and your profits, right? Is that part clear? In the factor market, what are we trading? Factors of production, which have got their rewards, which move in the opposite direction. So if I give you I give you my land, in return, what do I get? Rent. So if labor moves to the right, what goes to the left? If labor moves to the right, opposite direction is your wages or salaries, right? That's how the factor market works. And we also have our product market. So the firms have now taken that labor, that capital, and that entrepreneurship, and they produce the product. And that product then is traded via the product market or the goods market. The product market is also known as the goods market. In the goods market, what is traded? Someone? What is traded in the goods market? Goods market?
Goods and services, such as
goods and services.
Example, going to your Checkers and you're buying your groceries, for example.
Yeah. So in the goods market, goods and services are traded for our income, which is sales revenue. So remember, we are looking at the flow of income and spending. So income flows in one direction, spending goes in the other direction. You spend on the factors of production, you pay income, right? So what are we saying? We're saying firms supply goods and services to product markets or goods markets, right? Firms supply, I will show the table, not so long. Firms supply goods and services. Firms supply goods and services to households or consumers via the goods market, right? Via the goods market. So don't worry about the structure or whichever way it is put. You have to understand the flow, which is very important, right? Firms produce goods and services to consumers or households right? Via the goods market. I'm using the terms that you're familiar with, right? Firms provide goods and services to consumers via the goods market. So as goods and services move in this direction, what do the firms get in return? Income. What is the form of income? The form of
Money.
income is in the form of sales revenue. Sales revenue. Sales revenue. Firms, when you sell your goods and services as a firm, you get sales revenue. So the money flow, the income flows in the opposite direction. The goods and services flow in the other direction. Are we clear on that part?
Can you repeat it, Mr. Yes?
When you firms provide goods and services to households through the goods market. So goods will flow to households, and in return for that, in the opposite direction, you have sales revenue, which is the income. Remember, we're looking at income and spending. Spending on goods and services. The income is sales revenue to firms. Households are spending there on goods and services via the goods market. Goods and services, they are flowing to households. In exchange of that, consumers will pay the firms what will be the firm's income. What will be the firm's income in the form of sales revenue? That is part number one. Number two, okay, the first part will be the consumers. What do the consumers own? Land, labor, enterprise, right? So they sell their factors of production. Households sell their factors of production. Households sell their factors of production to firms through the factor market. Households, they sell their factors of production to firms through the factor market, and the income is flowing in the opposite direction. Firms will pay income to households in the form of rent, salaries and wages, interest, profit. The profit goes to consumers. So financial flows are moving in the opposite direction as the factors of production. Are these not financial flows? Hello? Financial flows, they will flow in the opposite direction, right? They are opposing what? Your land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. These are supplied to the firms, right? Supplied to the firms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a circular flow of income and spending. When firms have got money, remember it's a financial flow. If I'm a rent owner, okay, if I'm a landowner, sorry, if I'm a landowner,
Mm-hmm.
and you pay me rent and you pay me salaries and I've got interest and I've got profit, what do I use it for? What do I use it for? I go shopping. I go where? Shopping. I go to the firms to buy.
Mm-hmm.
What am I buying? What am I buying? Goods and services. So
Goods and
firms
services.
supply goods and services to households. Can you see that it's a circular flow? It's going in circles. It's going in circles. So once I spend here, right? So I'm now explaining the concept of derived demand. Derived demand. As households now have got this money to spend, income. This is income to households, right? They now demand goods and services from firms, right? Demand goods and services from, because they've got money, they want to pay for these goods and services. So they say, we want bread, we want cars, we want whatever. And what do the firms do? They need more, for maybe to increase their capital, they need more money or more labor or more, they need more capital to produce this. What do? They go shopping for factors of production. They go looking for more land. They employ more people. So households now provide those factors of production to the firm. So it's a circular flow that never stops. Are we together? It's a circular flow of income. Households will spend on goods and services. Firms will spend on the factors of production. Spending.
Yeah.
Any questions?
All clear.
All clear.
Mr. S,
Yes.
are you saying like our household depends on the firms and same vice versa with the firm depending on the household in terms of the circular flow?
Yes. Households depend on firms for goods and services. And the firms depend on households for factors of production.
Okay, clear.
It's clear, né? Right. So I just explained households and consumers. I want everyone to understand that part. Households and consumers. Is it clear? The flow of these, it's a circular flow. It's a circular flow. I want to add then another dimension there. So we know that our economy doesn't only consist of businesses and consumers. We have the government. What does the government do? Someone to tell me? Take a guess.
They regulate.
Okay, yeah, they regulate. But in terms of financial flows, spending or income, what do you think the government does?
It spends in the factor market.
Spending more.
They spend in the factor market. The government,
Yeah.
why are we saying the government spends in the factor market? It's the largest consumer of the largest employer. Isn't that true? The government.
Yes, spending on labor.
Yes, so they spend here. Can you see? Labor will move to the government and they pay, right? They pay. When they pay this, it is known as your government spending. Government spending on what? On the factors of production. This is just an example. Government will go to the factor market to buy labor. That's an example. And they pay the laborers your wages or whatever, or income. That income outflow from the government to the factor market is your government spending. What else does the government do?
Correct the market goals and failures.
Okay, yes, that is true. But in terms of spending, let's think of spending. What does the government do?
Spending on infrastructure, né? Like bridges, hospitals, homes.
Yes, provision of your public goods and services. So they produce like this. You see this F and F. So F is your public goods. Public goods and services. So these public goods and services are enjoyed by households and by firms. Public goods and services. So your public goods and services, your roads, your bridges, your security, your hospitals. The government provides public goods and services to your households and firms, which is the arrow I'll make it blue. It's going there and it's going there. Right. What do they get in return for that, for the provision of public goods and services, the government?
The revenue.
Taxes.
Tax revenue.
Revenue in the form of?
Tax.
Yes. In return for that, we are getting financial flows that are going to the government in the form of taxes. In the form of taxes. Is that all what the government does in terms of spending or income? What else does the government do?
Transfer the payments.
Transfer payments, they are a form of government spending. Right, transfer payments. Right, we will talk about this term as we proceed. Right, so transfer payments. So simply transfer payments, these are the payments in which government doesn't receive anything in return. Your grants, they are known as transfer payments. But let's think more on what the government can do. We still have this part that is missing. I've labeled the other one. What else does the government do? What else does the government do? The government buys goods and services. Doesn't the government spend
They
on goods and
also
services?
offer free services.
Free services, that's the provision of public goods. They spend on goods and services. Is there someone who's supplying the government with tissues, with bread, with you supply that to the government, am I right?
Correct. Via the firms, ne?
Via the goods market.
Oh, goods market. Okay.
Yes. So the government is also a participant in the market, in the goods market. Remember, I said this is a goods market. The government will buy goods and services from firms. Right? The government will buy goods and services. So goods will move from the goods market to government. So these are goods. In return, it is your government spending. It is still your government spending. What government spending on what? Goods and services. Yes. So Stephanie says they spend on stationery, teas, coffees for their staff. The government spends on lawyers. Government spends on accountants. Remember, these are goods and services. Government spending. So the government comes in as a market participant. It can come in as a market participant. It is spending on goods and services. It is spending on the factors of production. It employs labor. It employs labor. Government spends on public goods and services. And what they get in return is your taxation, your taxes. It's a financial flows. So financial flows are moving in the opposite direction with our goods and services as well as our factor markets, right? Carol says government staff bring on coffee to work. Well, that's an unfortunate office, but some offices, I mean, we have to send the driver to buy this for us, and we ask someone to make coffee for us. Am I right? Right. Do we understand the simple circular flow of income and spending with all the participants? So when I say with all the participants, I'm talking about your government, your consumers, your firms, your goods market, and your factor markets. Are we able to understand that?
Mr. S, specifically for me, I think with the repeat of this recording afterwards, it will sink, but I heard what you said, but I think with the repeat on my own, it will even make more sense I will try to relate certain things to to what you have just explained.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If you don't understand, you are free to post a question to me or to in the private group. We want to discuss more. So feel free to send those messages. Ask. All right, you have to ask. So what we've simply explained is that there is in an economy, there is a circular flow. There is a circular flow. What is a circular flow? Firms, they produce, so there's production. Firms produce, right? When firms produce, they are paying households for the factors of production. So it's income. It's what? Income to the households. So when the households get that income, it becomes they want to spend. They want to spend. So production creates income. Income creates spending. Spending creates production. Because we want to spend, we will go to a firm and force it to produce what we want. Am I right? Will firms produce if there's no potential spending, or if there's no spending that is going to be involved?
No.
No, firms will not produce. So spending initiates production. Production will facilitate income, because you are then requiring people or these factors of production. You need factors of production to produce. Hence, there will be creation of income. When income is created, spending automatically happens. What do you spend on? On the goods and services. So firms are forced to then produce. So there is a revolving flow of goods, of production resources, as well as financial payments. So this is a revolving flow, right? So these are major flows: production, income, and spending. You can put it there. So production by households and firms. So it goes like this. It goes in when you produce, it goes firms. When they produce, it goes like that to consumers. When you produce, you are using factors of production. So factors of production will go like that, right? Production, factors of production. And what happens to the income? Income flows like that. Payments for factors of production. Consumers pay for goods and services. Remember, a factor market, it can be hypothetical. It doesn't mean you have to go somewhere to find a factor market. Someone is thinking, where do we find this factor market? It's an imaginary market that happens. You can talk of employment agencies. If you want to think of a factor market that is physical, think of an employment agency for labor. We can consider it as a factor market where there is exchange of goods and exchange of labor. You want labor, you go to the employment agency, you get, right? That's like a market. Goods market, this goods market can be your shops, can everywhere, can be over the internet, can be everywhere. So all these markets, they are hypothetical. It doesn't necessarily mean that you go somewhere, you find it. Just to help someone who's thinking, where do we find this, right? So we're saying this happens through a factor market, Any questions? Any questions on the circular flow of income and spending? I know I'm moving super fast. Are we good? Are we good? We are going to come back to this circular flow with much more detail, right? So for now, we just need to understand what it means, what it entails, right? And maybe let's just do it once. Let's just do it at once. I think we still have got time. And so we looked at the simple circular flow of income and spending. So the simple circular flow of income and spending involves that. That is a simple circular flow of income and spending. So you've got your consumers, your households. So your households, right? Consumers and your households. You will also have your banks. I will add banks here, or financial institutions. Someone to tell us, what do you think financial institutions represent? Financial institutions. How do we include them in the circular flow? How do we include financial institutions in the circular flow? Someone?
Facilitating of funds?
Please say again.
Aren't they facilitating the funds?
They are facilitating the transfer of funds. Okay. Right. So we will introduce, I will introduce to you two new terms. Injections and leakages. Right. So let's look at it this way. When consumers earn their rewards for factors of production, which we said it moves like this. When they earn their income, they might not spend it all on here. Remember, it moves like this. So they might not spend it all here. What do? They can just take some of it and keep it at the bank. Am I right? Do we all do that? Your income, you can take it and put it at the bank. Saving. You don't it as savings, right? As savings. What do you think savings represent in the circular flow between these two words that I put, injections or leakages? Right? Households, when households put their savings into within financial institutions, is it a leakage or an injection? Injection.
Injection.
It is an injection. Okay. All right. Why do we say it's an injection? Why do we say it's an injection?
Okay, because it's an additional or to an investment or something, like it's an income.
It's an income. Okay. If I will, okay, I will give you an example. I will give an example. Right? I don't want you to overcomplicate things. Think simple. If you earn 100 rand, okay, we've got 10 minutes to conclude. If you earn 100 rand, right, and you are supposed to spend that 100 rand, right, because it's still in the circular flow, am I right? The 100 rand, if you spend it on the goods and services, it's in the circular flow. But now you're taking 50 rand and you're storing it in the bank. Think again, is it an injection or a leakage? Now how much are you left with to spend on the goods and services?
50 rand.
Is that an injection or a leakage?
It's a leakage.
It's a leakage out of the circular flow of income and spending. It's no longer in circulation. It's no longer part of the circular flow. Can you see that? It is a leakage.
Yeah.
We've taken it out of the circular flow. It's now sitting there somewhere. It's no longer traded with here. So that is a leakage.
Sorry, Mr. S.
Yes.
So you're saying that a leakage is a withdrawal of income?
Yes. Perfect. That's a leakage. This is a withdrawal from the circular flow of income and spending.
Okay.
That is a leakage. That's how you define a leakage. Yes. Withdrawals from the circular flow. Remember, we said this is a circular flow of income and spending. So when you decide to put 50 Rand away, you are taking out from the circular flow. And firms will then go to the banks to borrow money to invest in capital or to expand their businesses. So they take money and put it in that. Is that an injection or a leakage?
It's an injection.
Injection.
Awesome. Now it becomes an injection
Oh.
into the
So,
circular
Mr.
flow.
S, are you simply saying anything added into the circular flow, it becomes an injection?
An
and
injection.
anything that is
Outside
being
the circular
withdrawn,
flow.
it becomes a leakage.
Yes. Financial
Oh.
flows outside that go outside, they are leakages. And financial flows that are coming from outside are injections.
Mhm.
It takes us then to include another participant, which is an international participant. An international
Mhm.
participant. When we buy goods and services from international participants, let me do like this. Let me clear. Can I clear my screen? Right.
Then it's a leakage.
So when we buy, let's say we are a factor market consumers here, are buying not from these ones, but from these ones, international participants. Is that a leakage or an injection?
Leakage.
It's a leakage because financial flows no longer go there through the
It's
goods.
going
They are
out.
now going out.
Oh,
So this is a leakage. And what is this? When you buy goods and services from other countries, this is equals your imports.
imports.
So imports equals leakages or withdrawals. Imports, they are leakages. And then exports, when these now come in and buy from us, when they buy from us, it becomes an
Injection.
Injection.
Was like putting
Injection.
money back.
Yes, they
Yeah,
are using their
absolutely.
money and injecting financial flows into our circular flow. So
Flow.
exports are injections.
Injection.
Imports are leakages into the circular flow, right? Exports, leakages. So it can be export of labor. It can be export of labor. So this represents that. It's the same thing. Export of labor or import of labor. If you import labor, it's a leakage. If you import labor, the leakage, you are paying someone from another country. So it means
Yeah.
financial flows are leakages into the circular flow. Hence, we say it is favorable to always have exports that exceeds imports, right? It is always favorable for exports to exceed imports because you want more money to come into the economy than leave the economy. Am I right? An economy that imports more has got a problem because its circular flow is constantly facing leakages or withdrawals. Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it clearer now?
Mr. S, just a silly question. You were saying a
There is
country
no silly question.
that imports more labor has got a problem in terms of the circular flow.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking now, when you look at the UK and the number of international professionals that they import,
Yes.
I don't see them being short for change, eh?
Okay, so you realize that as we expand it, as we make it big, when you look at economy, when you look at the balance of payments, and you look at your GDP, you're calculating your gross domestic product, your output for the economy, or your you will have to account for the production by citizens, and you remove production by foreigners. So it will shrink your GDP. It will shrink your GDP. If you've got more people that are outside, remember it's a financial flow. When you now then balance the books, maybe do it a research and find out the GDP or the gross national product of the UK. The GDP might be more, but the GNP, which is the gross national product, how many South African nationals have produced this? It tells a different story. Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Awesome. But it's very important for us to realize that if we import more, it's leakages. Financial flows are going out of the country. It's not favorable. If we export, then it's injections of income, into which is what makes the economy to grow. If there's more income that is available to spend, remember it's the circular flow. It's a circular flow. Is if there's injections, meaning there's more income that is flowing in this economy. And remember what we said about derived demand. So firms will produce more because of increase in demand by consumers. We will look at that in our next unit. We will look at demand, supply, and prices, right? Derived demand. An increase in the income that is available for consumers to spend will cause firms to produce more, right? There's more money to spend in the economy. And if firms have sold more, maybe through exports, they now have the capacity to expand production. Is it clear? The more they make, the more they produce. The more they want to produce, they hire more labor. The more they hire more labor or the factor of production, the more income is now made available to consumers through the rewards of the factors of production. Are we good?
Thomas, the more businesses or firms export, it contributes towards a foreign currency coming into the country.
That's right. That's right. All right. We're left with less than a minute of our time. In our next session, we will look at demand, supply, and prices. Please go and research, ask questions in the group. I will respond. Right? Let's meet on Friday. Are we good? Good night, everyone.
All good. Thanks, Mr.
Good
A.
night. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thanks all. Bye.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.